Welcome to our webinar, of course. And just to give a brief background also of our company, as you saw earlier, Quintegral, we are Quintegral Asia, and we are under the Tranocate group of companies. We are a professional training solutions provider and consulting firm present in the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. And of course, for today, um, as a training solutions provider, of course, we wanted to embrace what current demands of the workplace and the ever-changing business landscape that we have now. And currently, of course, we have artificial intelligence, or as what we commonly call AI right now. And this afternoon, we welcome you to Navigating AI in Business, Insights and Strategies. And for this 1 hour webinar, we will learn more about the power of AI to drive growth, efficiency, and innovation to you and to your organization. And we are very much delighted, of course, to be joined by our esteemed speaker, our subject matter expert, who is a seasoned AI and digital transformation expert, who is also a prominent figure in the industry, and currently the Global Chief Technology Officer of UBX, Mr. Mario Domingo.
Thank you, Ali. Hi, everyone. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Mappy. Hello, JM. Thank you for joining the session. It would be hopefully a very enlightening session for everyone. Everyone else, thank you for joining Quintegral's short learning session. It is, I've been working with the Quintegral American Management Association for several years now, and we are launching a series of business-related short courses on artificial intelligence in the coming months. And as part of that launch, I will join you guys in sharing what the implications of AI are in business, or more specifically, the title of this session, which is Navigating AI in Business. So allow me to share my screen. All right. So we have a chat facility for those who are not familiar with Zoom. The toolbar at the bottom allows you to react on the content that you're seeing. Please feel free to use them as you see fit as we engage the content. There's also a chat box. The chat box will be a facility by which you can ask questions if you would like to ask questions in the middle of the presentation. But after the presentation, I will be opening myself up for questions and answers. But if you don't mind, during the entire session, I will have a continuous lecture on the presentation, just so the recording will go very well. Today's Learning Forum series topic is Navigating Artificial Intelligence in Business. We will share a little bit of the insights and the little strategies. I will take you through the context of where AI has been and where it is today. Most importantly, we will look at how AI applies today and how businesses are leveraging on AI. And I'll take a very broad stroke in trying to share with you how businesses are using it. I am a technologist and an entrepreneur and a business person, so I will try my best to frame a lot of these discussions around operations, around business, around entrepreneurship. And then along the way, I will take you through what are the implications to strategy, what is the implication to the human workforce, what is the implication to further applications of AI. And hopefully along the way, if time permits, we will talk about this great thing called prompt engineering in using large language models like ChatGPT. So with that, I'll get started now. So this is who I am. I'm currently going through my PhD in business leadership, where JM and I are cohorts. I am founder of several AI technology companies in life sciences, media, consumer, and digital enterprises in the Philippines and Singapore. My first artificial intelligence startup was in 2013, it is with self-organizing networks. This is a telecoms application. I sold that business after 3 years. And so you can see that it's been over 10 years now since I first entered into commercial AI applications. But I've been playing with the algorithm as far back as the early 90s, late 80s. But and later on, I'll be discussing why only now are we seeing the advent of the real advent of AI. So I'll go through a few minutes introducing you to artificial intelligence. We will unbox and demystify what artificial intelligence is because it's such a broad topic. In order for you to retain a lot of your questions, feel free to park the questions in the chat and I'll get to it as we go. Artificial intelligence refers to any system that simulates intelligence in machines that are programmed to think and learn like humans. So any machine or system that emulates thinking is basically artificial intelligence. And in fact, if you want me to really demystify it, you have been living with AI for a long, long time. And specifically, AI lives in its most prevalent place called the calculator. Sure, this is narrow AI, meaning it's limited in terms of its application, but it's still able to do a human task in a lot shorter time than typically a human being will take to solve some of the problems that you can solve with calculators. But it is more prevalent in today's applications in mobile devices, and you'll be surprised maybe on how ubiquitous the use of AI is today. But for the purpose of the starting point, artificial intelligence is any system that simulates human intelligence. The groundwork for AI started in the 40s and the 50s. If you remember that movie about Alan Turing and John Newman, where they were trying to crack the Enigma code of the Nazis, an encryption that's being used to send instructions and orders and commands across the battlefield and the war front. Alan Turing created that machine that broke the encryption of Enigma. Turing proposed that theorized the concept of a universal machine that if we can do this, because deciphering encryption is basically deciphering language. And if it can decipher and understand language, surely we can create a universal machine that can do the same. Well, nearly 100 years later, we are here today with ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude. By 1956, artificial intelligence broke ground as a field, specifically done in Dartmouth College conference, where the father of artificial intelligence, as they call him, Marvin Minsky and others, gathered to discuss creating machines that could mimic human intelligence. And from that time on was the birth of AI. So through the 1960s to the 70s, way before many of you are born, early progress and challenges were faced by AI. There was a natural language processing program called ELIZA and Sherdle-U, a program that could manipulate objects in a virtual world. AI faced a lot of challenge, and that challenge is primarily in the computing power. There just wasn't enough computing capability to handle the algorithmic requirements of artificial intelligence. And that created what is in the industry known as the Great AI Winter. Because from 1970 all the way to almost 2000, there was very slow progress in artificial intelligence. By the 1980s, they were referring to AI as expert systems because they were largely heuristic in its approach. They are rule-based approaches on if then, then what kind of programming approaches that replicates more like fakes, human decision making in specific domains. Companies began to invest in AI research, leading to some low-level commercial applications, specifically in computational math, business math, engineering, and so on and so forth. Where it has really taken root by the 1980s and 90s was in robotics. So in robotics, they were able to do some basic tasks like precision riveting. What that means is they can take, say, the hood of a vehicle, an auto, and position the hood on top of the vehicle, and then with precision, the computer vision and location of the AI software that's running the robot will put the fastener onto it. So the other one was welding tasks. So even as early as the late 80s, early 90s, the rise of robotics has come about, and through that, new innovations came out. By 1990s, later 1990s, machine learning and data-driven advancements have come into fore. Specifically, machine learning. Machine learning is a branch of statistics, and basically it uses different techniques such as decision trees and others algorithms that allows us to do some pretty cool stuff. An application of machine learning that is very prevalent and ubiquitous is credit scoring. It looks at the historical patterns that we see in payment histories of borrowers, and then from there we are able to find cohorts, and from that cohorts we are able to score whether or not they're good borrowers. AI systems also outperformed humans in chess, in specifically in 1997 when Gary Kasparov, master, um, a grandmaster in chess, basically drew, if not outright lost to IBM's Deep Blue. IBM was one of the early movers in artificial intelligence. Oracle, another American company, but one recent company by the 2000s that was very good at it was Google DeepMind. But because of many ethical issues that came with it, Google, for some reason, slowed down. By 2014, a company called OpenAI started to really make major advancements in neural networks. Neural networks is basically another term for deep learning. Deep learning is the use of neural networks to try to recognize patterns, and from those patterns abstract the patterns into some kind of model. And that model could be a model of a person who is diabetic. Based Another model is a model of a person about to enter a doorway. A model is anything that is outputted by a neural network, and that was made possible because of two innovations in history. The first one being computational power. Without computational power, we will not be able to do AI. And we almost ran into that by accident. You know who had the computational power to power AI? It was GPUs, or graphic processing unit, that is used primarily in the 90s and 2000s as gaming chips. They were video gaming chips. They were being used to render physics. They were being used to render environments in games like Zelda, like a Skyrim, like Call of Duty. And from that, they discovered, hey, that if we just adapt our deep learning algorithms to the capabilities of the GPU, we could actually realize artificial intelligence capabilities a lot sooner. And for sure that that happened. The breakthrough, that's the first breakthrough, computational power. The second breakthrough was data. There was now this phenomenon of big data. Big data is data that's running at velocity, at great volume, at great velocity. And so big data was most prevalent in a place called the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web, or the internet, has so much data that OpenAI decided to train its artificial intelligence in language via the internet. Why? Because the internet was available. By 2015-ish, we started to deal with the issue of data privacy. And so the guys who were early mover in training their data sets, they benefited a great deal. At least OpenAI had a good 2 years to get ahead on before data privacy started to creep all over the place. But still, the World Wide Web was full of public data they were able to train their models on. AI became more integrated in everyday applications by after the aughts, and that was prevalent in places like Siri, right? In Alexa, there I just I just activated my Siri. Recommendation systems, autonomous vehicles. In fact, by the 2010s, AI was very prevalent in Amazon. So if you're shopping in Amazon, Amazon crunches all its data to look for patterns, and it would look at nuanced patterns, like if someone was shopping for a white shirt, like a button-down white shirt for a suit, maybe, or for work, the cross sell that comes with it is like women's shoes, because it's finding that there is a pattern that it is the wife that buys the suit for, I mean, the shirt for the white shirts for their husbands. And so those kinds of recommendation systems has become prevalent. Of course, we knew that by the 2010s, the birth of Tesla and Frisker, and from there, Fisker Mobile Automotives. Um, and today, more and more autonomous vehicles are being developed. Many, if you have one of those advanced vehicles, you can get them to park in a parking slot by themselves, by memory, where it remembers the movement of the car and the slot, and so it automatically parks in it. Or it can on cruise control automatically overtake, or it can change lanes, or it can accelerate or decelerate depending on the parameters from which you 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 use it for. By the 2010s, ethical concerns and debates about AI's impact to privacy and society and jobs in general grew alongside its rapid development. Um, there were a lot of questions, for example, of should I allow the AI company to use my cancer data in order to uh, make money in in diagnosing cancer? Those ethical questions, came to fore. Is it ethical to use is it ethical to use Straits Times public data, the news that they wrote over the history of Straits Times, in order to train data that later on I will charge subscription fees for? Did they essentially violate copyright laws, or did they plagiarize by training the AI in that? The ethical concerns in academia is, as some of you well known. Um, I tell my friends all the time, homework will never be the same again, because of how easy it is for a kid to prepare his homework using AI. And in fact, it's there. There's an ethical question: is why can't you use it if you can use it, and what's, or don't use it, because that means you will not learn anything. So the ethical concerns is here to stay and has become a major issue for AI. So to recap, AI has been around longer than we think it is, and the only thing that held it back is computational power and data from which it could crunch. The algorithm has been there a long, long time, all along. But what was missing was the sizable data from which accurate predictions can be made, because of the volume of history that it can pour over, and more importantly, the computational power of the machines to be able to crunch that data. Later on, we'll talk about the implications of further development in computer science and engineering. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the current trends in AI. And let me just take a peek. Okay, the chat is clear. All right. So machine learning, as we said, is a branch of statistics that is a branch of statistics, in fact, a branch of classical statistics that allow computers to learn from data. And fundamentally, predictive analytics largely come from still traditional and classical statistics, but it's also now beginning to happen via machine learning. Um, when we talk about predictive analytics, it leverages a form of AI to analyze large volumes of customer data, and its main job is to identify patterns and trends that can predict a customer behavior, as an example. Um, Predictive analytics is pervasive across consumer marketing and consumer companies because they use these insights to make informed decisions in offer management, hyper personalization, and developing proactive strategies to try to retain the customers and have them stay on the platform. Just about every social media company uses predictive analytics to predict what you're going to do next, what are you going to prefer next, and so on and so forth. Uh, Predictive analytics also helps in identifying potential risk events before they escalate, enabling people to preempt it and mitigate it before it happens. Um, Another form of AI is natural language processing. The previous kind of AI is predictive analytics. By this time, I believe many of your companies are using these machine learning uh, uh, techniques for business intelligence and predictive analytics applications. But there's a new, very popular AI technique called natural language processing. It enables machines to understand and respond to human language. When I say understand, it doesn't understand at the qualitative level by which humans understand it. The computer understands it because of correlation, causation, because of patterns and trends and direct strengths and directions. So it's still largely statistical logic from that perspective. There's also a more heuristic association. Um, um, Terrible, bad, angry equals negative sentiment. So there, that's like word association. And they can do it at scale. And because they can do it at scale, because they are able to do it at scale, they that's what makes it a valuable AI application. Um, the next one is computer vision. Computer vision is what we used to know as image recognition, video processing, object recognition, activity recognition. And basically what it does is the computer is a camera is has an algorithm in the back that allows it to look at the image and create vectors and points inside the image that when certain patterns are detected, it's equals Mario's face, as an example. It allows machines to interpret and make decisions based on visual inputs. That's why if you use it for access, say facial recognition as an access, you put your face in front of it, and your computer then comes alive. Another form of computer vision is another form of computer vision is the use of your finger, eye touch, to touch on the Apple devices. It reads your fingerprint, and that the image of your fingerprint uses several hundred or thousands of points in the print, allows you then to wake up or boot your computer. That's what computer vision is. Computer vision is being used to look at traffic patterns. Computer vision is being used to do um, imaging diagnostics, for MRI, for mammograms, for X-rays. Computer vision is being used to for automobiles to do autonomous driving as well as distance management. Computer vision is very, very well used today. In industry, we are using RPA. RPA is called robotic process automation. It's a little hypey, I know, but it reduces human error by automating a lot of the processes based on repetitive and rules-based tasks, such as data entry, invoice processing, order management. You use certain tools, software in this case, to help you automate step from perhaps your back office system, like your HR management system, and that interacts with your email, that interacts with your mobile app, and you're able to automate these processes across these platforms. And this automation emulates that as if there is a human who is facilitating this process. So it allows us to focus more on higher task, higher dimensionality type problems, more complex maybe, to increase overall productivity and efficiency. We will take a look at three examples where consumer-based examples and back office examples where AI is being used. So one uses augmented reality. Sephora is a luxury brand that for lifestyle brand for skincare that offers personalized recommendation across their hundreds of products. So basically, what you do is similar to a filter in your camera. You will basically register to the Sephora virtual artist app, and you can pick the eyeliner or the lipstick. Right, Jam? How do I know this? I don't know about makeup. I just know about Sephora because I was working with them on the algorithms behind that helps render this. And so in this example, you can see that you can take a selfie and you can even have a split screen of your face to compare your current lipstick or one kind of lipstick over another lipstick to give you a compare and contrast. In this case, they were able to boost online sales by up to 23%. So there is a business case. It's not just novelty. It's not being cute to use augmented reality or AI in consumer products. Nike has used AI to accurately predict the demand for trendy sneaker releases to avoid stockouts. So it's about getting the stocks in the right place at the right time, ensuring that there are no stockouts in places that has shown prevalence. It looks at the velocity of the consumption or the sale of the product every time the POS is hit. It utilizes machine learning to look at past sales data. It looks at social media trends. It looks at customer references. They throw it in one big AI blender to say the Oxford Street branch of Nike near in London must have 5 of these models, 10 of that, and 7 of these, and then it'll go the Michigan Avenue branch of Nike in Chicago should have 150 of the Invincible and 25 of the classic, using with high accuracy. What that allows them to do is bring down the cost of inventory, of spoilage, and be able to recover from potential opportunity losses. Finally, my third example is Walmart, but in very same objective as Nike, which is avoiding stockouts, ensuring correct inventory levels, not too much and not, not too low. But this time using computer vision by these robots that roam the aisles and takes videos of the shelves. And so they take videos of the shelves, and based on the videos, they count how many bottles, how many boxes, and then it automatically orders into the back end, where there's a picking robot that picks out the items and the SKUs. They put it into a stocking where a human will then pick it up and refill inventory. I know what you're going to ask. Why don't just a robot do the merchandising? I don't know. We have to ask Walmart. Um, and so we have seen those examples. We ask ourselves, what is the benefit, or what are the benefits of AI in a modern business landscape? We have learned about what machine learning and deep learning is all about from a branch of statistics, maybe even classical statistics of linear regression, all the way to more advanced Gaussian techniques in machine learning and deep learning and the use of neural networks, over to computer vision, over to conversational stuff and natural language processing. Um, First, look at places where you need better decision making, where you have high error rates or high dissatisfaction rates. Or look at enhancing your customer experience. Maybe you want to improve the customer experience. The no-brainer one is your chatbot. Maybe your chatbot is still working on a chatbot from 5 years ago, and the technologies today in for chatbots are so intuitive that maybe it's time to go to Gen AI or generative AI to get into a more improved customer experience with chatbots. Third, should you experiment, right? Should you experiment, test and learn for innovation and competitive advantage? This is very important that you research it, that you test it, that you experiment with it. And lastly, where can you use AI so that it will bring you cost reduction? But the right question, framing the right AI question means you begin with the problem. Um, so maybe the first question is, I need to reduce cost in my inventory. And then AI is a possible answer. What it should not be is, I want to use Chat GPT. It should be the other way around, right? How can I improve my my chatbot? And potentially the answer is generative AI. But there are challenges in AI adoption, and let me just mention four of them. And they are generally the most important challenges in AI adoption. The first one is how to integrate it with existing systems. We require a good technologist with a good understanding of AI to incorporate it and integrate it literally into existing systems. The second is, people just don't know about it, or not enough about it, or not trained enough in it. And so there's an investment also required on the people side of things, because there are skills gaps that you need to fill. Third is, you need to think about the ethical and regulatory considerations around AI. Um, Ethical considerations include privacy. Ethical considerations speaks of permission-based use of data, especially when it has something to do with persons, copyrights, right? And fourth is probably the most nuanced, but the greatest issue that we have in our age today. I put it this way because most of the senior leaders in your organization have not gotten their head around artificial intelligence. And the place where they will hype about it are these very same leaders. They're probably in their 50s. They were born 50 years ago. And then by the time they were teenagers, there was no such thing as internet. And then by the time they are already 10 years into the workforce, the internet is growing, but the social media is just beginning. And yet, and yet, your young workforce entering it right now, the workforce entering your organization for the last 5 years were born with the internet. We're born with mobile devices. We're born with smart devices. Much of this generation today is born with AI. How do you then lead when you don't have experiential reference, right? Because this goes beyond technology. There is some profound thoughts to be thought about in AI. That's why there are ethical issues and regulatory issues beside it. And so this is probably one of the areas that you will tackle, which is the overcoming the resistance to change. So there are some strategies in successfully implementing AI. Start with pilot projects. Start small. Identify the risk. Don't spend more than you need. A good rule of thumb worldwide is between $10,000 to $20,000 on pilot projects on AI. And after that, release. If it doesn't show value, move on to the next pilot. Don't overspend on AI. Don't adopt in a major way unless you have done pilot projects that shows you good promise. Second is if you belong to the Philippines, your data is probably bad. Your quality of data is horrible. So what's the point in finding patterns from dirty data, right? So that means you're just finding patterns in garbage. So this is very tough because this is boring, makes you fall asleep. It's very foundational that we get the data infrastructure in place. Um, Third is you need to foster a culture of innovation. The organization should espouse a safe space philosophy around experimentation and innovation, specifically in the case of artificial intelligence. Collaborate with AI experts. Don't be shy to bring them in. Partner with universities if you want to go low cost. Partner with universities and their experts in AI who at least sees it from a good theoretical and academic perspective. And together, maybe you can collaborate to find meaningful solutions for your company. And finally, keep an eye on it. Um, Continuously monitor and see how you can improve in your implementation, but always keep an eye on AI. AI is moving very rapidly. So even if you're not using it with your company today, stay abreast. I know, for example, Sani here, we belong in a chat group that talks about AI periodically. This is good to keep updated. And so, how do I build an AI ready organization? You need to develop training and development programs. What seems to be working for my company is that we are now recently been offering short form training enough to 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 stimulate the interest of our guys, but we belong in a technology company, so our propensity to want to look at AI is natural. We need the organization to have a cross-functional teams looking at AI. Uh, as a basis, you need to take an agile and flexible approach, and that's how my company is becoming AI ready. We are using AI today to develop the drafts for proposals to customers, terms of reference, costing. We ask AI to develop budgets for us. An example of this is, as the global CTO of UBX attached the last 3 years budget for the year, um, write a budget for 2025 with a consideration for the adjustment for cost of living and consumer price index, and output in Microsoft Excel format. And it outputs a draft budget in about 3-5 seconds. So here's a very practical use in AI. But let me just point out that leadership and vision is what will catalyze your organization to having an AI ready organization. So towards the last section of today's learning sessions, we're looking at what are the emerging technologies and innovations, predictions for the next 5 to 10 years, and how business can stay ahead. AI will become more embedded in your, honestly, it will become more embedded in your appliances. It will be more embedded in your TV. Your TV has it already. Your air conditioner is beginning to have it. Your refrigerator will have it. And so it will become integrated to devices in your electric fans. I know that a lot of electric fans are already equipped with sensors. It can sense maybe the temperature or the humidity, and it will turn itself on and turn itself off. Or maybe you can tell already today, this is not the future. I can tell my mobile app to turn on my air conditioner in my bedroom at a certain temperature from here. The second one is there will be advancements in machine learning. Continuous improvement will improve the accuracy of predictions in innovative applications. If you notice that that weather forecasts are improving every day, it's because aside from more accurate LiDAR, radar sensor systems, the algorithms that power the forecasts are stronger and stronger every day. And finally, the one to keep an eye on is how fast the rise of quantum computing is happening. Quantum computing will exponentially enhance the ability of AI, because remember, in history, what has held it back is the power of the machines. And quantum computing is probably 1,000, 5,000 faster than our fastest existing computer processors. And so keep an eye on quantum computing. It's just a year, 3 years away. It's not very far from now. Once that happens, we can probably have an AI to make us coffee. I'm just joking. Yeah, new telecoms technologies like 5G will allow us better broadband, and because better broadband will do that. Blockchain will be impacted by AI because blockchain will be powered on top by artificial intelligence, making it even faster. Um, Augmented reality, I've already shown you how Sephora is using augmented reality. It will become an even stronger enabler for productivity, for education, for healthcare, and for retail. So some of the predictions is that AI will become increasingly integrated with your business operations, automating routinary tasks. It will allow you to become more hyper-personalized, driving better brand loyalty. It will help you with sustainability and green technology. We'll be able to adopt more sustainable practices. It will allow us to monitor carbon capture better, allowing us better decisions around environmental sustainability initiatives. It will transform our workplace. I'm looking forward to augmented reality that brings not just two-dimensional video conferencing, but what appears to be three-dimensional rendering of the workplace. However, we will face more stronger focus on data privacy, ethical use of AI, the practices of it, regulatory compliance, and will address concerns because AI is biased. It is biased based on the training set that it used. And I will give you a perfect example. I think it's my last slide. Hang on. I can't show it yet. But basically, if I took my picture and I asked it to give him an AI version of me, it will be a Westerner that will be output instead of an Asian, because the training set of the AI that I used to render me into an image has that bias. So remember that all AI has bias based on the training set that they were used. Be very mindful of that. So we talked about this already. We will have improved decision making. There will be more automation. We will have personalization, hyper personalization in customer experience. Uh, our workplace will change. We will have robots or AI like ChatGPT to become our partner. If we are not yet using ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini as our assistant in doing everyday mundane tasks like spreadsheets and project plans and reports and email and all of that, you should be doing that. That's not the future. That's today. You should use Microsoft even calls their AI co-pilot because it's essentially augmenting your capability, allowing you more time so that you can have better balance in your work. But you need to reskill and upskill the what you know today. You'll need to improve on it, and because of it, new job roles will be created as a result of it. I spoke about this already, about that, and you know, the same thing with this. Um, so in healthcare, you will have predictive diagnostics and personalized treatment plans with revolutionized patient care. We will be able to ingest large amount of data, treatment on how to treat specific diseases. We can be very personalized by which you will be treated instead of in general based on a book that they read. In finance, AI will help in fraud detection and manage risk better. It will enhance risk and security and reliability of financial systems. In manufacturing, it will allow more precise, predictive maintenance and quality control that will lead to higher productivity, reduced downtime. In retail, it will optimize the supply chain. It will optimize inventory. Um, So invest in learning and development just like this. Partner with Quintegral to help you deliver AI courses. Build strategic partnerships. Startups are good places to partner with because they're nimble and fast. Um, Keep an eye out on cutting edge innovations and explore and experiment with them. Embrace digital, use digital tools, apply it in operations, improve your customer experience, foster a culture of innovation, encouraging risk taking in a defined scope. So that's how you want to do it. You want to do strategic implementation, doing pilot projects, collaboration with experts, and continuous. We need to be transparent of the use of AI. Need to we need to declare how we are using AI in our work. We shouldn't be misleading people to think that suddenly overnight we got better at writing email. Be wary of using AI because you need to have strong security measures because you could be inadvertently exposing uh, proprietary data into the internet. Avoid training biases. Be careful with this. I already talked this through. So embrace AI to future-proof and drive innovation in your business. Help it, let it help build efficiency and help you hyper-personalize. And there's that image I was looking for. I put it into one of the image um, AI image generators, and it came back like that. Wait a minute, I don't. That must be the Caucasian version of me. And with that, I'd like to take your questions. Thank you very much for joining me today. Who wants to go first?
Hi, Mario. Good afternoon. Yeah, yeah, I got interested to attend this session. I'm currently right now working on a global payroll service provider. Uh, of course, as you mentioned, we need to go deeper first on the problems you are encountering. But do you have any some obvious solution where you could uh, integrate AI in global payroll service?
Yeah, so one is treasury. You need to try to optimize the timing of when you're going to move the funds around because moving the funds around, as you know, coming from the banking industry, there's float, and you want to optimize that float. It will be probably use of more classical statistics and machine learning, but treasury or cash management will be good. The other thing that you can do about payroll is you can probably do good predictive analytics on predictive analytics on the profile of your various client companies, payroll habits, and from there you might be able to optimize um, um, the timing on when to pay. Timing to when to pay is critical because today what we do is we just do the 15/30 or every 2 weeks. But sometimes when you optimize your cash, you can have a more dynamic pay date, right? So I've heard about this case study, Mappy, and happy to discuss with you more in detail in the future. Just get to me. But there's this dynamic payroll concept that is powered by AI today.
Oh, thank you, Mario.
Thank you for your question.
Hi. I guess if people are getting a bit shy, you can directly message me or Mario for any of your questions. Um, our chats are still open. Going once, going twice.
Hi,
It's
Mario.
all oh there.
Hey, JM.
Yeah. I was wondering what's the better way to enable the business in terms of learning AI? Is it better to outsource the knowledge or to make a whole uh structure out of it or a team?
Right. So that was a very good question. It's in the early stages of adopting AI. I think that a good I've seen companies do this, Jim. They do like an expo or some kind of like an event or a festival that showcases different AI from a very reachable, practical perspective so that they don't have to learn Python or anything like that, but they can just use easy RPA tools. You can invite some vendors. You can invite university to showcase how AI is being used to upskill or to stimulate thinking around AI. And then in terms of partnership, I suggest not to partner with the big brands because they're expecting big sales out of you, but instead partnering with academia and working with the universities and having hackathons on but when you do the hackathon, embed uh, employees into the hackathon instead of just letting the hackathon teams by themselves so that your folks can feel what it's like to who knows, maybe even contribute.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, you're very
Hi,
active in yeah. Who's that?
hi Mario, this is Marv.
Hey, Mark.
I have a question on your thoughts about ethics in using AI. It has been coming up. I'm in an environment where I'm seeing a lot of support in experimenting and using it, but I'm also surrounded by people who are a little bit hesitant, particularly on possible questions on ethics of its use. So would love to hear your advice and thoughts on how to navigate that.
Yeah. So the most the global conversations on ethical use of AI is that ultimately the data that ChatGPT trained its large language model is the internet. So when it did that, it plagiarized and violated copyright. But those authors and content owners do not have ways and means to enforce that violation of plagiarism and copyright. In fact, was it Wall Street Journal or New York Times that said, that told OpenAI, you cannot use any of my data, and I am informing you right now that you're in violation of my copyright, even though I still cannot tell whether you used it or not. So that is the global conversation. We could be facing an outright end to ChatGPT and the like of large language model Gen AI, because in essence, it did violate copyright and plagiarize it against, and it reconstructed the words. So from that perspective, it's not plagiarism, but it's definitely at the minimum copyright. So that's the conversation that's going on right now. It should not prevent us from experimentation, but I will certainly be very mindful of my org-wide, you know, use of these things. I hope that's helpful, Marv, because that's the biggest issue there.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Also, for the rest of you, if you're going to train AI with employee data, even though they are your employees, you still have to, you still have to ask their permission, because it's new grounds in AI. You have to look at it. So Chris says, wanted to get your thoughts on how to get the average consumer to trust AI enough to interact with it. Yeah, it's weird, right? But let me tell you, I can't give you a fireproof, waterproof answer, but I'll tell you something. Do not anthropomorphize that's a big word, AI. What I mean is, do not one of those companies that show a human-like feature answering AI, because that's what creeps people out. It don't use a robot, use an animated object, or better yet, just a chat box. But what you should never do is to create a human-like, figure answering their questions. That is my number one pet peeve, because every study, I'm an old man, over the last 30 years on AI is, do not anthropomorphize AI. Do not make it look like a human, because if you make it look like a human, you will creep consumers out. Now, how do I begin to trust them? It's the way it answers. So unfortunately, Chris, you need to answer them in Hiligaynon. You need to answer, you know, it's timely. You create a robot. I don't care if it looks like Optimus Prime. It's better than creating a face that looks like Ali, for example, answering the question, right? That's deep fake, and deep fake is creepy. So yes, that's the way to do it. Ali, I think we've gone over time.
Oh yeah. Okay. Would you like to answer the last question from Sani or
Oh yeah. Where is Sandy's question? We're in the process.
Thank you, Boss M.
Yeah, so Sunny saying we're in the process of developing a healthcare app. It will have the capability to collect information from the user, meaning patients. How do we navigate data privacy? Permission lang, Sunny. That's all it needs. So what you're going to need to do is, these are the key questions you need to get permissions from. One permission is to use the data for research. Number two, the result of the research to be used to provide advice to future patients. So those are the two parts. You need to ask, um, is it okay to use your data to find patterns and recognize insights, and then after that, to use that finding to help other patients. So that's a two-step permission.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. I think that's most of the questions now. As you said, you've gone a bit over time already. Just a few quick announcements before we end. Again, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. We got a bit over time, but I think people are still enjoying. They're still here. If you love what you learned here on this free webinar, we do have um, 3 training programs related to AI that are available under Quintegral. And of course, it will be Mario who will doing this. We have Artificial Intelligence Business Essentials Certificate Program. This is open to all. So you can register if you want, or your team. This will be on September 30 until October 1. So that's a 2-day program virtually on via Zoom. And then we also have generative AI prompt engineering basics. All of this one's open schedule is already done. But if you'd like to request for one, we can do this for your own organization as well. And then we also have AI strategy and business impact from September 16 to October 12 with weekly live virtual sessions via Zoom. All right. Again, if you love what you learned here, you can continue your learning journey with us. You can check out more details on our website. That's www.quintegral.com. Or you can connect with us through email. That's solution@quintegral.com. Our Facebook is open also, Quintegral Asia. And on LinkedIn, we're Quintegral Philippines and Quintegral Singapore. And before we all let you go, just very, very quick, you can scan the QR code. We'd love to hear your feedback. What worked for you in this webinar, what you love, what you hate about it, what we could improve on, let us know. We'd love to, hate to say it, but we'd love to get data from you. Yeah, thank you so much. And we hope every one of you will have a great afternoon. Thank you.